Welcome to WYCD Wicked. That stands for What You Can Do. Your old pal Jake, and today we are talking about the state of MAGA, as in how far away from reality they are, and how that should inform how we act going forward. Really enjoyed doing Salty Saturday. As I'm about to go into, I don't think it's necessarily worth engaging with MAGA folks all that much, but ooh, is it satisfying. I suppose it's worth it in that it is quite satisfying to heckle back a little bit. I'd rather focus on you all. Perhaps do a Sunday show of some sort where we go through the comments you guys left. Let me know if that sounds like it'd be of interest to you, and that's something we'll start putting together. Let's have a look at the readout. Somebody was in for, I forget who, somebody was in for Joy Reid recently, and they interviewed Jordan Klepper, wherein he showed some of the footage from from recent MAGA rallies that he attended. And oh, folks, the followers of Trump and his philosophy don't live in the same world that you and I do, the one that's populated by facts. No, they live in a mystical reality where multiple contradictory things can be true at once. Here he is.
Let's hear what they had to say about who controls the military.
What is he doing as president?
He is in charge of the military.
Great.
The military is in charge of this whole thing.
The military were put in charge in 2018 when President Trump signed an executive order.
So they're very calmly right now saying that the government has been taken over by the military. And it sounds like they're saying that's something they approve of. They're okay with the military in secret running everything. Meaning under threat of a bullet. That's what it means if the military ran the government. So they're comfortable in their minds with a situation where that's how things are decided. Barrel of a gun.
American military arms that are going to Ukraine, we have Donald Trump to thank for that?
No.
So they were aware. They're not denying that America has shipped weapons to Ukraine. They apparently don't like that America has done that. Oh, that's problematic. That's very problematic. And yet, they're sticking by their belief. So they're acknowledging that did happen. They don't think that's something Trump would have done. Ooh, that's telling in and of itself. And yet they're saying, let's find
two
out.
militaries.
There's two militaries. So in their mind, the military has had a civil war that they've kept quiet. They have kept the Civil War quiet. And yet, one is running half the government, the other's running, I guess, the foreign policy?
There's two militaries.
There's the good and the bad.
So there's two militaries.
Okay.
Donald Trump's in charge of the good one.
Yes.
Biden's in charge of the bad military?
That's exactly right.
You have followed these folks for a number of years now. So how concerned are you about the fact that facts aren't relevant here? They still believe these kinds of conspiracies and these theories that are otherworldly.
The fact that facts aren't relevant isn't new, but I'm still surprised at these events, which should be worrisome to everyone. The fact that there's still ideas out here that go beyond what I've already heard at many of these events, it deeply concerns me. There's a larger question as to how widespread the support is. I think that's...
Well, I agree with him. I'm sure that's not everybody. The fact that you seem to get interviews like this all the time when you go to these rallies means it's a significant enough thing that multiple journalists can pick it up. We also have multiple attacks now around the nation from people citing insane QAnon stuff. I give you Nancy Pelosi's husband getting literally hit in the skull with a hammer. It's serious, folks. This is the opposition. The political opposition does not believe in reality, is more comfortable going on camera and saying they believe that the United States is controlled by two separate militaries. By the way, clearly confused, clearly hadn't really thought that through, and clearly had to make something up on the spot. Let's go back. Watch them make this up on the spot. You can see where they're confused. You can see that they're not like, no, it's two militaries, though.
Military arms that are going to Ukraine. We have Donald Trump to thank for that.
No.
See, that right then. So he presents something that they didn't like the government doing. And he says, so the military, you believe, controls the government because you can't admit that you lost. They did that. And the reaction is that they had to think
Military
about
arms
it.
that are going to Ukraine. We have Donald Trump to thank for that.
Look at this lady. See that? Well, that doesn't line up. They're writing fan fiction on the spot. When I say they're not in reality, I don't just mean they've come up with an alternate reality. I mean, what is true no longer matters to them. They don't care if their fiction lines up with the facts perfectly. It just needs to enough to get them through a conversation. The look on screen right now is the danger. The look on screen these two have, where they are trying to think of an alternate theory. Now they come up with it. Let's listen.
No.
That's
two militaries.
there's two.
Oh, there we
there's
go.
Two
We got two
militaries.
There's the good and the bad.
So there's two militaries. Donald Trump's in charge of the good one.
Yes.
Biden's in charge of the bad military.
That's exactly right.
They either thought of that on the spot or they couldn't really recall it. But if it was just that they couldn't recall that little detail, don't you think it's kind of a huge detail? Like that's kind of a core belief. Like if you really thought that the military was secretly running things and then all of a sudden it does something that's totally contrary to what you think ought to happen, to what you think this military would do, don't you think it would be a big deal to you to figure out what's going on? And wouldn't that be a core part of your beliefs? So when you're interviewed by Jordan Klepper, you can right off the bat say, well, the thing is, we have a domestic military situation right now, and unfortunately a split with, you would lead with that, is my point. That is a big enough deal. That's a big enough part of your story that you would lead with that. But they don't really believe this. They're playing pretend. Dangerously. They are LARPing with politics. They think nobody understands this. Nobody at our level understands this. All those lefties are also just making up stories. Clearly, we need to just make up some strong stories of our own.
Just saw there are folks out there who will deny reality to its face and will just blindly put their vote in and their life behind this one man, no matter what he says. And that's, as always, is scary this time around.
Yeah,
My point in showing you that is that we have to be serious about the folks we're dealing with. I've seen so many people on the left try to approach us saying like, well, listen, you can't be mean to these people. You can't be brusque with them. You can't be this and that and the other thing. There's a huge difference between somebody who believes in what MAGA's up to or did believe and is waking up, is honestly approaching looking at facts again. Odds are they're not going to come into a place like this. But if they do, you'll be able to know who they are because we'll throw something else. We'll throw something out there that's harsh, but we'll pair it with facts, such as the fact that we are sending aid to Ukraine, and they'll have to deal with that reality. If they're willing to not be baby, good, they're ready. We did that whole Salty Saturday thing basically because those were a bunch of people that weren't bringing facts to the conversation. If they are ready to join the adult table, they're not going to be turned away by somebody being a little harsh with them. In fact, they would expect somebody, if they are as wrong as we say they are, they would expect our behavior to be fed up, to be annoyed, to be short. Of all the lefties you can think of, which is the one that is most liked by the far right? Is it an old man? Does he talk like this? Does he not take a lot of crap from people? Yeah, he's a nice guy, but Bernie Sanders doesn't mince words. He speaks honestly. And when you use kid gloves with MAGA, they're not ever going to be like, well, this guy is treating me nice, so maybe that's the good one. This gal didn't call me out on all my racist stuff. She just said, well, I have a different opinion, and maybe you want to... No. Don't waste your time. You will burn your energy trying to talk to those two old ladies who I'm sure are perfectly sweet when you're face to face with them, but they're voting for a tyrant. If they're in a place where they're making up alternate possibilities on the fly that they are going to commit to and act like they've always believed, you're going to be wasting your energy trying to convert them. Right now, we have more numbers than them. We should be, in my opinion, focusing our effort on activating those people and getting them working together in focused campaigns to change one thing at a time to make America better. Good news is this strategy is very possible with the numbers we have right now. But I do think that we waste our energy in reaching our hands out to people who are delusional.